our angle has to be to push the mistrust of government as the solution for anything, because it's never been the solution for much of anything. And it keeps pitching itself as, but we'll really fix healthcare. We'll really fix immigration. We'll really fix your job situation. We'll really fix your environment. And they haven't ever fixed anything. All the best that government can do is get out of the way and let us fix it, because we as individuals will. And that's the message that we have to push, but it's a really heavy lift.
What Leslie said brings me right into a point of something that I thought was really interesting from George Will today in the Washington Post. Found this, and he's talking about a book from a guy named Joel Kotkin, who is this lifelong Democrat who's just written a book, The New Class Conflict. And it's about, I guess, refiguring how the American political system is set up. It goes into statistics like most people, or a majority of people, believe that life will be worse in the next few decades, which is more than twice the number of people who think it'll be better. And people don't really know why. But then when you look at things like the economic gains from 2009 to 2012, the percentage of people who had income gains, most of it, 95% of people who had income gain were the 1%, the wealthiest 1%. And he's saying it's because of a growing alliance between the super wealthy and the people that are running the government, the instruments of state power, as he calls them. And this is why, because the people at the top that have those political interests and that are heavily invested in donating to liberal causes and liberal government candidates, etc., their whole thing is managing society because they know better, they think they know better, and it's all about them ordering society the way they want it without paying the consequences or having to live under those sorts of things.
And it's not the Illuminati, and it's not any of these shadowy organizations. But yes, you're right. There is a cabal ordering society for us, making the decisions, but they're not the Bilderbergs and they're not the Illuminati.
No, it's people who are doing things like building information companies who can employ fewer people than manufacturing companies and control a heck of a lot more wealth at the same time. So their productivity is based on ephemeral goods, things that don't have a product at the end that you can touch and hold. It's an ideological, or I mean, not an ideological, it's an intellectual property sort of thing. And that group is funding this second-tier group gaining power in government and building this. He calls the second group the Clerisy. It's in academia. This is what Andy talks about all the time, where it says, there are many more administrators and staffers than full-time instructors. So there's all these people built around this whole network and this employment machine built around building up the power and the numbers in academia. And this great quote, he says, the founders worried about government being captured by factions. That was how they originally were worried. He said they did not foresee government becoming society's most rapacious and overbearing faction. And so what these guys do is they persuade and they instruct and they try to build the regulations that the rest of society will be ordered under. These are the people that work in academia and go back and forth between academia, government, regulatory agencies. Gruber is who I'm talking about here. And that's a class that also is into this ordering of other people's lives because they know better. They're all in that academia. Those are the people who've captured the attention and the loyalty, I guess you would say, of that younger generation because they have placed such people in a revered position. And those are the guys that are actually doing serious harm to people.
You know,
yeah, the most chilling paragraph in that whole article, and it's not actually that long of an article, but when he said that the Clerisy's policies include dense urban living as a sustainable alternative to suburban, and serving environmentalism by consuming less. Hence, the sluggish growth and job creation since the recession ended in June of 2009, which we've heard them call, oh, this is the new normal and we just need to get used to it. And those of us out here in the real economy were like, well, screw that. I don't want this new normal that's sluggish and stalling. I want the vibrancy that we used to have. Well, the Clerisy is not seriously disturbed by this new normal, because to them, slower growth, smaller footprint for everybody, just kind of a declining lifestyle, getting by on less, buying fewer things, eating less, having poorer quality goods, that's just fine for
And
everyone else.
And look at what it says right after that. It talks about that luxury goods are the only growth industry, the only industry doing well. People
Right.
like that are making yachts, people that are doing high-end construction on large apartments. And that's the thing in New York, for example, in Manhattan, the new building that's going up is luxury apartments. It is not affordable housing for people. They don't do that because of the ways things are structured there. And then at the same time, what they're doing is they're attacking Walmart, which is where we live.
Right.
What they would not do is go and cover the prayer meetings. It was really strange to see people in this particular column that I had going begin to, every time they would hear media focusing on rioting, looting, burning, etc., their contrasting information would be, but look at all this they're not covering.